Hello and welcome to This Week in Bitcoin. And boy, oh boy, what kind of a week it has been. A lot of exciting stuff happened, so let's get stuck in right away. News number one are without a doubt deserving that number one place, and that is that the Czech National Bank could soon be holding up to 5% of Bitcoin. The head of the national bank, Ales Michal, I'm hoping I'm not butchering his name, said in an interview with the Financial Times that he's seriously considering allocating up to 5% in Bitcoin because Bitcoin is a highly interesting asset. Obviously, saying this in an interview with the Financial Times gets you a bunch of eye rolls because the Financial Times never actually does any due diligence and is actually always shooting against Bitcoin, but that's a different topic. I'm not getting too upset about this now. However, seeing this progression is wild. It seems like a national Bitcoin stockpile, a reserve, or whatever you want to call it, is not only attractive in the US, but now, finally, also with a national bank over here in Europe. Just on a quick side note, dear Swiss National Bank, see what happens if the head of your bank is actually spending time understanding Bitcoin and is not convincing it, or confusing it rather, with crypto. Just saying. You could do the same thing. But nevertheless, he is actually fulfilling his mandate as the head of the national bank by investing and allocating into assets that safeguard the future of their currency and that is actually stable and sound in this case. Rather than investing in a bunch of American tech companies and turning your national bank into a hedge fund, again, no offense against the Swiss National Bank, he is actually considering using one of the scarcest assets on earth. In his opinion, the diversification that is needed in his bank is being able to be produced by holding on to Bitcoin. A 5% allocation, I would argue for now, would be his ideal target. And they now voted on a proposal to actually look into this strategy. Quick side note, a lot of Bitcoin media got this very wrong. They already said the Czech National Bank is buying Bitcoin. That is absolute horseshit. They're not doing this. What they did is they actually accepted that proposal to look into it. So it seems like a lot of fellow colleagues in the industry don't know how to read properly. So just as a side note, before you always read these news, make sure to verify the information. These news were well reciprocated in the Bitcoin community and generally speaking, but not so very much with the biggest bear in Europe, and that is the ECB. ECB chief Christine Lagarde also said that she's very confident in her talks to the Czech matters of the national banks that they were not going to be adding Bitcoin anytime soon because the euro and the ECB is recommending that you actually use a highly liquid asset and something that is stable. Just as stable as her failing euro, which is losing purchasing power every other day, every other year. And by the way, Christine, Bitcoin is actually the most liquid asset on earth. You can trade it 24/7, 365 days of the year, every year. Also just saying. But this was to be expected. We will now look forward to whether the Czech National Bank will actually step up and buy Bitcoin. But having a head of that national bank like that makes it highly appealing. And we really look forward to what the next steps are going to be in the Czech Republic. News number two are a little bit different than what I usually cover, and that is DeepSeek AI. They had, in the beginning of the week, a real trouble in the technology markets, claiming to be more efficient than OpenAI, more cost-effective, and therefore also having more output possibilities with their model. This sent shockwaves through the technology world. NVIDIA itself crashed over $500 billion. Really a huge number if you think about it. And the entire tech sector also was sacrificed a bit. And the questions arise like, are US tech companies overvalued? Why I'm covering this in the news? Well, the Bitcoin price also dipped that day. And it seems like retail investors really compare Bitcoin to technology companies, in this case, an AI company, or things like the NASDAQ, which is a technology index, of course. Having said that, though, a little bit to be expected. You know, it takes time until you understand Bitcoin, but it shows us that A, yes, American companies are probably overvalued, and B, on the other hand, we got long ways to go with our education and showing people that Bitcoin is not an AI company or not a common tech stock. And last but definitely not least, and I'm going to cover this really quickly now, otherwise I get really furious about it. There are now 36.4 million altcoins on the market. Yep, you heard that right. My latest video, Bitcoin is not crypto, I actually explained why we have to differentiate the two. I've linked it below. However, it seems like not everyone in the market understands this, and I blame networks such as Solana for this one because they make it extremely easy to actually launch meme coins, rug pulls, or whatever you want to call these projects. I used to remember the time when we were, I wouldn't say upset, but we were shocked that there are 3,000 other coins next to Bitcoin. Now these numbers just increase, and it could look like we could reach 100 million of these coins by the end of 2025. So very important message, keep your eyes locked in, stay focused. There is no second best because Bitcoin actually solves all of these problems everyone is claiming to solve with their own tokens. If you don't know what that is, watch the video I mentioned in the description below because it is really clear that Bitcoin is not crypto. And with that, we're at the end of this week in Bitcoin. If you got questions, feedback, or just want to say hello, leave me a comment below. And also, if you haven't yet, please subscribe to the channel so you never miss another video. I look forward to seeing you next week again.